Everyone please stand as you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Jeff, and I can just see the orders as we get started here. This is the first workshop for the budget, for next year's budget. It will not be the last. The purpose of this city council meeting is so all of us can get the base input from the department heads. So this is us listening to department heads as you talk about your priorities. Budget is about priorities. And we came up with, along with department heads, we came up with the priorities. They're right at the top of the agenda. You see those, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone in this room. Now, one thing that should be on there that I think everyone knows is to sustain Superior City services, because we still have to do that, acknowledge we have to do that, but that's not going to remain for us in the budget. We want to keep what we got and make slight improvements. Doesn't mean we can, but that's not going to be the major thrust of the budget in the next year. Any questions before we get started? Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, this is my swan song, and I came in with a goal setting session with you all, and as you can see, what our goals are, the commissioner goals are outlined as the mayor indicated. And so when we, Sandra, and now Mickey, by the way, have you all met Mickey, the new city administrator? Have you all? Oh, good. That's good. We had lunch together and talked a little bit, and Mickey indicated you'll be here next week.
That's right.
Because we're going to try to put together a base budget, and as the mayor said, that'll be just a base budget, and then there'll be more workshops, I'm sure. But ultimately, the city administrator will submit a budget. I would imagine that it'd be at that first council meeting after input, and that is for first reading. That's March 13th. And let me just make a comment. When you have a transition, and I had this in St. James, and I don't know how it's going to go next week, but I promised Darren, right, Darren? Darren said you owe us a budget, so I'll go to next week. I want to get you a budget, but sometimes I may get a budget to you, but there may be programs off to the side that the new city manager may want to look at, study, what have you. Perhaps he'll have it all ready to go by March 13th, but it's going to be his budget, because in a lot of cities I've found if somebody else does the budget and then the new guy comes in, it's not my budget. But so it's a great deal to have him here to hear everything. And speaking of which, if you don't get the budget approved April 1, state law says you just continue as is. There's a caveat there. The other thing is you can always make amendments down the way as you go forward. So I've done this. Well, I've done a lot of budgets. I won't say how many budgets I've done, but I have found that this workshop, the mayor indicated, it's not only for the commissioners to hear what's going on in departments, but I found as a team, the other department directors need to hear, because in some places, if nobody hears what's going on and somebody's got to make a decision, then that department says, oh, they got it, why they get that, why they got it. So at least you'll all hear what everybody's needs are. At the end, we're working on some things, but I think we'll have a situation where you'll see where all the requests are, and as any place, there's not enough money to do it. So that's where the rubber meets the road. Any questions? Okay, this is a very tight schedule. You've got department directors have 15-minute presentation and then 5 minutes for questions, and Kelly's going to keep track because we got to stay on task. We have a TIF commission meeting tonight at 6 p.m. And obviously we don't go past, get into that. That's all I have. Any questions? Who's first on the list, Jaden? No.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaden, you're up.
Oh, is it? Well, thank you for letting us come speak to you guys about the budget this afternoon. I'd like to thank Sandra for helping me and probably the rest of the department heads and getting everything lined out and looking nice for everyone here. Start with the airport budget. For revenue, the budget has had an increase due to our gradual increase over the goal of getting everyone hangar rentals and the pricing increases that have gone on for the past 2 years. We've had a steady stream of revenue on that end, and we look to see that projected into the future with the new city hangar along with 2 other hangars that look to be built later this year. One of those was recently just approved at the last council meeting. For expenses, we added $53,000. This is due to a new employee that we are looking to uphold this coming year due to being able to, one, train as we have one of our employees has recently retired as the airport manager and only working part-time, along with 2 other employees that are getting close to retirement. Looking at being able to train them to be able to fulfill those roles, along with assisting and being able to do a lot more of the admin work that my guys are currently not able to do because of training and age. The education and travel went up as well due to our current fuel contracts. Every 2 years, there has to be the airport manager or a designee has to attend a supervisor training every 2 years, but because of how the fiscal year goes, it's almost every year. And so we added a little bit to the budget for that. Our liability insurance also went up from $2 million to $5 million this year for liability insurance. This is due because of the $4 million total that the city must uphold for legal issues, and then also aircrafts are expensive, and they usually end up hitting that $4 million mark pretty easily.
So
Yes.
are we free to ask questions along the way? Sure.
Yes,
Okay.
sure.
So that covers just the liability coverage per incident, per year, per anything?
That's anything.
Has the airport board seen this budget?
They have seen this, yes, as of no, because it was prior to our advisory board meeting, so they had seen it a couple days prior.
So they have seen it?
Yes, they have seen it.
Okay, did they provide any input?
Outside of they wanted a presentation given at some point on it.
Okay.
Cost of internet access has increased due to airport using Starlink. Our internet service out there was AT&T, and we switched to Starlink due to issues with connection and our self-serve system. So we've had an increase of sales due to the fact that our internet hasn't been down, and it's made it a lot easier to do stuff online and be able to do my job, which has been nice, but it does come with a cost. Then
That's also a safety issue, right? That's
Yes.
how you do gnomes?
yes. And then we had, all our lines had just a increase or decrease due to matching the spending from the previous year as shown. In the memo, I also included some key impacts and considerations. Some of those align with the current goals and objectives that you guys approved a few months ago with the goals meeting. And that is all I have for the most part. Any questions?
Employment, can you tell us if your current employees are going to fulfill the whole 2025 calendar? Or do you
Yes.
think you'll have a replacement of an employee during the 2025 fiscal year?
Currently, my operations manager has stated that he will be at least until the end of this coming fiscal year. However, being able to get someone to be able to take that or fulfill that role prior to him leaving would be more beneficial than trying to hire someone immediately, because you'll be spending more money.
So you're gonna run with what you got, 2025?
Well, when are James and Randy retiring, do we know?
Randy will be looking to retire, he said, sometime next year. Late next year.
What, late 2026?
Yeah, mid to late 2026.
And how about James?
James the year after.
Okay.
Jeff, that's all I have. I guess there's no more questions. I don't know
The
who's next on the
capital
list.
items, capital items are
Oh, capital items. Oh, yes. Sorry.
just
So
highlight.
moving on to capital, where is that on my sheet?
Third page.
Third page, thank you. Capital, let's see, general fund and airport department. So we had vehicle, that's not the right page. Oh, capital costs, there we go. Capital over mechanic fund transfer, so we're looking to have an increase, and that's mostly just from the sale of fuel. For our capital improvement, or capital projects, there we go, thank you. We are looking to have a new tractor and brush hog.
Is there a way, sorry, Jake, is there a way to turn lights off? I can't see that. Anyone else?
Maybe.
Does anyone have a problem with that, or can we blow it up?
I think the sunlight is gonna be the biggest enemy to that.
Yeah, you may be right, but we can control some of it, it's okay. Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Jake.
So we have a tractor and a new brush hog on there that we're looking to seek. This will help a lot with the brush hogging that we have on the west and south side. Our current equipment is, we're hitting that 25 plus year mark, and so getting some replacement parts as it's just becoming a lot of maintenance. Then we have the MyGoat, which is a AI mowing robots. This is a company that reached out that can do about 100 acres for that price, which in turn would save us in about a 5-year term enough of about 1.5 employees. And the last thing is hard for me to read, but tractor.
It's your
MyGoat.
20-foot brush
Oh,
hog.
and then the mowers. Our current mower is being fixed by Crown, however, if it can't be fixed, we'll be needing a new mower to upkeep with our current conditions at the airport with the 3-inch grass height restriction.
How about the question?
The first one, that was the MyGoat mowing system. That is an AI robot.
The 20-foot brush hog on the bottom.
Oh, it's the bottom. 20-foot brush hog, that is for the tractor to pull, for brush hogging, for the tall grass that grows on the west and south side. Our current ones that we have is a 10-foot and a 6-foot. The 6-foot doesn't really get used because it doesn't occupy enough space, and the 10-foot is just
Doesn't occupy enough,
not enough width to where it's better to just take the 10-foot and do it like that, and then have someone else on a mower.
Where'd you get the price for the tractor? That seems awfully cheap.
John Deere.
Wow, I guess you're not getting a loader with it?
John Deere.
130 horse? With a big engine.
No, but I mean, everything I'm seeing for that size is more towards 140 or 150,000.
All right, so that's something we got for John Deere, basically.
But, yeah, that's all I have for the capital. Should be the rest of mine now.
Do you want to move on with police, or do you have any questions for Dana?
No, let's keep moving.
All right. Joy, you're up.
What'd you say?
Notice when the chief stands up, everyone gets quiet.
He's got a gun.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Thanks, chief.
Sir.
Okay, first of all, thanks for your time and opportunity to have a conversation with you guys. Also, I'm not gonna go over primary budget items. I worked closely with Sandra on this whole project. And when you get yours, it should be broken down line by line to major cost per expense. Pretty much operating cost. So today what I want to do is talk to you guys about potential changes for this coming fiscal year. For us, the primary objective for us is going to be personnel, kind of like City Hall identified that they needed personnel last year. Everybody's kind of in the same boat. We utilize several things to identify what we want to do. We used the 2023 community survey that the city did. The responses that were in there indicated the need for the increased drug enforcement by the police department and more proactive measures to prevent crime. The primary issues that they identified to us within the survey. They also saw a need for canine and additional police staffing. That was directly from them. And this is consistent with the meetings and the goals identified in 2024 when it strategic planning we discussed right here with previous council. And we identified those same objects then that we want to proceed with. So we're still moving forward with the same project plan with community support, very good. Utilizing both the survey and strategic plan, we see a need to either reinstate the narcotic detective, which was taken out in about 2016, and or additional officers with police canines. So going to give you guys some options with this stuff. Ultimately, the goal that we discussed primarily in the strategic plan was to add 2 police officers with canines and assigned vehicles, so equipment that they need to operate. Estimated annual cost is going to be $175,000 for that. Drug use is becoming increasingly prevalent and dangerous within the city and within the area. I mean, that's not unique to just Monett, that's everywhere. While we've been benefited to have outside resources, that is dwindling and becoming unreliable. When we got rid of the narcotic detective, we actually had 3 other agencies work within our community. We had 2 drug task force. Monett's unique, as you know, because we split the counties. The south side is 1 drug task force, the north side is another drug task force. So we had 2 task force working in town. We also had state agency and federal agencies working with us as partners here. Due to personnel and changes as usual, those have dwindled down to almost nothing now, just to be honest with you. So we went from having a plethora of drug enforcement to almost none. So that's what's changed within the city, and that's why we're talking to you now.
Yeah, wait, how long have we been without a narcotics?
2016, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, sorry.
A dedicated canine program is beneficial in apprehending criminals, detecting drugs and explosives, conducting search and seizures and rescue programs, operations, along with protecting officer handlers. A proactive approach is needed to address the challenges that we are looking at effectively. As I explained to you currently, neither the Missouri State Patrol, either the county sheriff's departments, nor any municipalities within Barry Lawrence County has a canine unit. I've checked with everybody to see if there's anything in the near future plan on it, and the answer was no. Highway Patrol did get a new one issued to them in the zone, but that's going to be over towards the Joplin area, so there's nothing relatively close to it within an hour that's available. The last time we requested a canine for a possible armed subject that was near the school. This was not during regular hours, it was after hours. We had 300 people inside. The closest unit they could get for us was Kimberly City, who declined. They had 1 officer on. It's an hour-and-a-half drive one way. They just couldn't afford to send that resource to us, and that was reasonable. We had to find our own solution. We contacted Troop because we know people. We ended up getting a highway patrol officer out of Carthage to respond with his canine. It still took us well over an hour to get that done.
So if I'm listening to you, canine's really essential.
It is. It feels a unique slot that we just don't have, and there's not a lot of resources to utilize for that. We're trying to use technology in other ways, but ultimately sometimes the canine is just what it is, and that's the resources you have to have.
Okay.
So my question to the council is this acceptable? mean, that's kind of why we're having a discussion here, right? So drug activity was one of the most common concerns in the recent community survey. A canine would significantly enhance the legal drug enforcement for the community. With 2 properly trained canines, what we could do is provide 7 days of service a week service to conduct efficient searches of large areas, industries, and schools following the best practices. The other thing unique to Monett is, but it's such a large school system, large industries, to have 1 canine truly can't handle that type of a search area because it just overwhelms their abilities. They just can't handle that kind of volume. And that's why, technically, when I talked to schools before, we would actually need about 3 canines to properly search a school. And they check with the schools again to make sure they're still supportive of the system. So they're still on board with us utilizing them at the school system here. Another thing to consider is implementation of this would take about a year with potential funding available through grants and donations. I'll be honest with you, unfortunately, we've already missed out several deadlines and opportunities. Doing a soft delivery with the area, trying to see what the best way to implement this was and to see what we would do. I've turned down $100,000 worth of donations to the city. And I stopped asking because I just don't think that's a good plan. Until you give me the authorization to move forward, I can't have those conversations with other people that want to donate to us. And I will tell you already, some of that money's already been allocated other places. So I know that we've actually lost that. So this is the reason why I want to have a talk with you now. Is this something you guys want to pursue? Do you want to go forward with it? Once you do, it's going to take time to implement it, but the funding mechanism is pretty solid on the dollars. You still have to pay for personnel. But for the rest of the equipment, the cars, the canines themselves, we got a dog offered to us for free and had to turn that down because we just weren't ready for that. So that gives you an idea of what it would look like, right? So option 1 is put 2 canines on. That's kind of your best practice to actually get somebody going here pretty much 7 days a week. Not 24 hours a day, but 7 days a week. Option 2, at a reduced cost to the city making a decision, would be about $88,000. What that would do is decrease coverage, just 1 officer and 1 canine. That would reduce the coverage to about 2 to 5 days a week, so we'd have somebody available with a limited scope of search. And it would also at least give us the ability to do planned operations and emergency call-outs within a reasonable time, because wherever our canine in would obviously be closer than an hour that we currently have opportunities to use now. They'd be able to help with about 1,500 traffic contacts, probably more than that actually, once they get going. Implementation still takes about a year, and the likely funding is still there for that person that we've currently missed. Third option, if you guys don't like canine ID at all, which some people don't, and I understand that, is to go back to the narcotics detective and reinstate that person. Basically what that does is that puts a detective back in operations who's dedicated to investigating the primary narcotics, focusing on supply line of drugs within the town and the most dangerous drug dealers in this community. Kind of taking out the intake portion versus a reactive police squad going out there taking people off the street that are users, right? A little faster time on implementation, we could get that done within 3 to 6 months. Just know you still wouldn't have a canine option with that. But I want to give you guys an opportunity to make a decision on what direction you think would be best for this community and what costs you guys want to invest and then what type of return you're looking at.
George, what would be the downside if you said some people don't like canines? What are you talking about?
Some people don't like the idea of having a canine out there. We can train them certain ways, like you can train them aggressive or passive. We learned a lesson from the previous canine we used to have in the city, is we would train them to be a passive hit. Now they're not tearing cars up and stuff like that.
That would be good.
Yeah, exactly. So we've learned something. And also I've talked to other agencies on how to implement stuff the best way you can.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of negative. It's just the fact that the cost is very expensive in these things. I checked with the insurance company. It's the same as an officer, so our liability hasn't increased any. It's just like having a patrol person on the road for us. So there's not a lot of downside, but I just want to be honest and transparent with you guys. Any other questions about the potential for canines or some type of drug enforcement activity within the city?
Your personal reference to a canine, beneficial or not?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't have brought it to the table if I didn't think it was beneficial, sure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Next project is capital. As you guys talked about, we really toned down our capital a lot because I know there's going to be a lot of requests coming in this year. So we're trying to make sure we're being frugal with the funds that are available to you. The ones I'm bringing to the table, I don't have a lot of options on, so I'm going to put it on your plate. The first one is repaint the interior of the Justice Center. Estimated cost is $80,000, which just blew my mind. And the reason I'm bringing it to you is most of the Justice Center is original from 2008, so it's 17 years old. The wear and tear is just through the place. We try to do some touch-ups on it, and it's just so aged out, you can't match the paint anymore. I bought exact stuff there, and it just sticks out like a sore thumb, so we can't do any touch-ups on it. So basically, this has exceeded its expected service life due to continuous wear and tear from daily use. Like I said, we try to do touch-ups, but the color fading, you just can't do it. We're gonna have to do entire sections of it. The cost for repainting has increased significantly each year. I initially thought I was gonna do this in '23. It was gonna be $30,000. My goal was to get it done this fiscal year. It was gonna be $50,000, didn't get that done. And then when I said, hey, I need a quote for next year, and when they told me $80,000, I said, I better bring this to you guys as a capital project, because this is just ridiculous. Continued delays will only result in higher costs and further deterioration of the facility. Something to keep in mind here for you is with the new sheriff's offices built both Lawrence and Berry County, they have brand new facilities, so trying to maintain and updating our facilities is more important than ever because we're trying to be competitive in the market. Proper maintenance not only enhances the Justice Center, but also extends its lifespan, ensuring it remains a functional asset to the city. So I hate to see a $14 million facility go down because of an $80,000 paint job, right? So it's up to you guys. I'll be honest with you, if you choose to kill this, that's fine. There's things I have to do. The jail, we see 1,000 people, 1,000 prisoners plus a year go through. They're just trashing it. I have to do sections of the station, whether you choose to do it or not. I'll just try and keep it at a reasonable.
When you talk about painting, you're talking about the entire Justice Center, you know, not
Almost
Michelle's office?
With the exception of the court, who just did theirs.
Okay.
I have basically the entire rest of it, so almost 25,000 square foot. It's a lot of space inside of there.
Okay.
Any questions about that?
Would you like to do from Arizona and paint it all pink, or?
No, I am trying to see if I can find a person to give us a recommendation for a timeless paint that is industrial we can put on there that lasts another 15 years, so we get a decent paint scheme that matches up with modern stuff that I don't have to worry about again.
So last time you had it painted was 2000?
Never. It was when it was built, sir. That's when it was painted. We've had to redo the jail twice already. Court's already redone theirs.
3 years ago.
About 3 years ago, but the rest of it is, I mean, if you come in, you'll see it. And we did, it's unfortunate, we tried to patch some stuff, and it's just, the paint we had just doesn't match anymore. It just doesn't work.
1:27 p.m.
And that, just FYI, keep in mind the Justice Center, in particular, George's part, still serves as the community's emergency operations center. And that's where we bring our state and federal partners when we need them. And we have in the past been asked to serve as a backup to the Regional Emergency Operations Center in Springfield. If they were to go down, then Monett has been their backup for quite a few years. So it's always to our best interest to keep our facility as current as possible. And no paint, please.
Yeah.
Or if you do, just please not down in the basement.
Very, very minimal. We'll keep it to where it is, probably one cell.
Okay, let's go to capital project number 2.
Number 2, the next capital project for us is to replace our mobile data terminal computers, the ones you guys see in the cars. Estimated cost for that is $91,000. I apologize, it's that expensive. We tried some non-ruggedized units before that just failed miserably, so we just wasted our money on that one. These ones we use work well until the end of the service life. The reason these are running into end of service life is currently, if you're running Windows 10, they're not upgradable to Windows 11. So I'm letting you know that these units will be a cyber liability on October 14th, 2025.
That's when the upgrades for Windows 10 stops?
That is it, and then they will no longer maintain them.
Okay.
You cannot get any updates, and they won't do anything with it.
Grant opportunities for those?
Pardon?
Any grant opportunities?
The reason you're not looking at bigger numbers is we've used grants to replace existing ones. So we do use grants as we can find them. There's nothing currently out there that fits this bill. So we have used it on probably 4 or 5 units, and then the only ones we've replaced other than the grant ones were the ones that broke down and we have to recycle through.
So the 14 is not the entire fleet?
Oh, not even closer. We already have several. This is what we have to maintain. And if we see additional grants, we will utilize them. That's where we're at right now. That's a pretty short one. Any questions about that?
No questions.
Okay. Last thing we're looking at for us is a competitive wage adjustment for the sworn staff only. Estimated cost on that is $165,844. One of the goals from the 2024 strategic plan was offer equal or above market rates and compensation for recruitment and retention. Currently, our staff is 3,400 less than the Berry County Sheriff's Office. Our current sworn staff is below the midpoint market rate according to the most recent wage study that you guys paid for, which you guys will get that in hand when you approve it, you'll see that. Currently, sworn staff is below the market rate of municipalities like Monett, and open source records I could find and prove to you. Currently, our advertising campaign for an open police officer has been running for 140 days with 0 qualified applicants. So that will tell you kind of where we are currently at with what we're doing and where our numbers are. On top of that, my backup plan was to train our PSRs, have them go to the police academy and put them into service as police officers. That's a great plan until the current one I have with us applying with outside agencies. We're just not going to compete with other people, they're just looking to go other places. So I'm not getting anybody new, and the people I'm training are looking to leave. So I'm looking for a solution, I'll just be honest with you. We're not at the market rate, so that's a problem for us. I don't know how to fix that without coming to council. As illustrated above, Monett Police Department is not drawing qualified applicants, in particular using current staff. The proposed adjustment will cost an average of $3.33 an hour with benefits. If approved, implementation in April will allow us to potentially maintain our personnel we have, advertise in a competitive rate with graduating class coming out in May. Both Springfield and Joplin graduate new candidates out, and that's when our primary new personnel come available to the area. It'll also be allowing us to be competitive with our local agencies like the Brake County Sheriff's Office that currently has a waiting list to hire deputies. So we have nobody applying, and they pay more than us and have people waiting to go work for them. That's an issue. Any questions about that section? I know if you guys are waiting to approve the market study, which is great, you're just going to look at the same number whenever you approve that. So at least now you know what you're looking at for a baseline for us. Okay. We believe the above listed items for public safety law enforcement are investment in economic development and economic growth that will have a positive effect on all 7 areas of goals identified by council. You guys did the process for us April 1 for this budget session. You guys agreed to these 7 goals. We put the goals down here. This on city organizational improvement, the strategy, we have implemented structure and improvements address the city organization. On the financial side, we ran a cost analysis. We're giving you guys a return on investment along with potential funding opportunities that we have with it. Human resource enhancements, we're trying to prioritize the HR investments on the communications and marketing. We have a focused response exists on the future and existing members that we've done. Economic development, this target objectives include crime reduction and public safety, effective positive economic growth. Housing, increased crime prevention and property protection of the billions of dollars worth of real estate that's inside this community is what we're talking about. On city comprehensive plan, we're continuing with the 2024 one that you guys already have invested, and then planning on current and future council goals that you guys have. This is just some information that they had down there to support some of the stuff that we have. And then the last page just includes what we had. That was your guys' strategic plan that we followed, that you guys were presented for 2024, and I'm still following the same strategic plan that was given to you guys. Do you guys have any further questions, comments, or concerns about this?
That's a good presentation.
Appreciate your guys' time.
Okay. Any questions? Thanks, Chief.
Fire. Okay, it won't be near as good a presentation.
That's what we're expecting, Chief.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. So the biggest thing on our general fund on our budget is going to be the addition of, it's told to put in for 3 new full-time firefighters. We're currently way under. I don't expect Monett to probably, hopefully they do, but I don't know that Monett will ever get to the standard of 4 people per engine and 4 to 5 per ladder truck, depending on the task that they're performing. So if we're going off of that, would be a minimum of 12 per shift. We're currently at 5 per shift. When I was asked about it, I said, personnel would greatly help in the first 10 minutes of the structure fire. And in the first 10 minutes, you can do, you can kind of make or break a structure fire, either lose it or take care of the situation.
Are we having the same issues with not hiring enough personnel, like Free Sheep just talked about? Are we having an issue with
Definitely,
hiring?
we just had 2 leave. We just can't compete with one of them just neither one of them are pursuing fire anymore, but the one was financial and needed to do something different. So, which is a pretty common thing now.
So you think wages are an issue?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not, are we losing them to other fire departments?
We didn't lose these two to other fire departments, no.
Okay.
No. One of them specifically told me that, he would love to come back sometime if, if we could meet what he's making and pay, he would love to come back. So, went to work at the truck shop and washing semis. So that's going to be the biggest changes in our general budget. Please don't look at what was projected to be spent and what was spent from last year. We made some big adjustments earlier in the year. Didn't pursue a lot of our education budget or our uniforms and PPE budget because we knew we were going to be way over on expenses of apparatus, which we are obviously, and still have one. It's been in shop for close to a month and a half now.
What's that?
11/13.
Yeah, and the update on it right now is Kenworth and Rush. Rush is blaming Kenworth, Kenworth's blaming Rush, Rush is trying to blame us. But in all, I think that when it's all said and done, the time I get done with these people, that we're not probably gonna pay anything on that truck.
That'd be good.
Because I've had enough of them.
But that's our newest engine, the newest apparatus in our fleet, and pretty much a complete rebuild of that
It's not,
system.
is that one of the, I'm sorry, is that one of the ladder trucks?
No, we only have one ladder truck, and it's a 96 model. I'll get to it in capital here in just a second. But that's pretty much it for us on the adjustments to the general budget have pretty much all coincided with the 3 new full-time, if that was a direction that we decide to take. I think that I don't think that flowed through on the publications and subscriptions on that we made the adjustment for our reporting software.
Yeah, it did. Software purchase last year. We moved up to 10,000
Okay.
on that line.
Okay,
May
okay.
have been after I printed that.
All right, I have the wrong one in front of me then.
Oh, yeah, you got an early one. It was after we printed that.
Okay. Any questions?
So we had talked about a new truck, new ladder truck, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
1
didn't
point,
get
no?
that. Could you try again?
yeah.
Sorry,
You want me to go on
into
to
a closed
capital?
session here. No, I'm good, go ahead.
Go on to capital? Nothing else in general? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
On the capital items, yeah, the glaring figure there is $1.8 million for a new ladder truck. We're currently running a 96 model Pierce, 75-foot single axle, and that 1.8 was looking at a 107-foot Pierce Ascender single axle that would still be on a reasonable length frame that we could get into the bay and still be able to utilize to get into places that we need to get into without getting too long on a ladder truck. That's about as compact as we can do. So we currently have a 75-foot. My recommendation in speaking to you all about it was, Monett's looking to expand and some bigger buildings and stuff, and I would recommend 100 to 107. This is a 107-foot Ascender. I think that the big thing that the council and finance and city administrator and myself probably would need to look at, this was a projected 40 to 48 months, somewhere in there, build on this ladder truck. Pierce has a new program that you can get one in 12 to 14 months, and it's pretty much a stock truck with kind of like what we did with our rescue truck. You have so many options that you can choose within parameters of what you do to that truck, and we could definitely cover those in that with what we would want on a ladder truck. And you could actually change your budget year for a purchase like that. So, there is rescue pumper coming. The new projected date for that is about middle of '26. It was going to be first of '27. Now it's going to be about middle of 2026. Subject to change also, but I mean, it depends on when the ladder truck is ordered. They're just allocated like one for this region every 2 months, so they have like 6 a year. So I could follow up on that, definitely, if that was something that we were interested in. And of course, the sooner you get the sooner you decide to move on that, the sooner we would have one. But it is a 28-year-old ladder truck as is, and things
Yeah,
are
it's, the 107-foot ladder, that'll allow us, because we're seeking a hotel here in town, and some of the renderings will go up to 4 stories. Well, a 107-foot ladder will allow you to do that. I'm not talking about rescue, I'm talking
107-foot
about
ladder would definitely allow us to do that. So without getting too in-depth about it, we usually figure about 10 foot per story. But you have to allow
You have to go this
for,
way too.
we definitely don't take a ladder truck off of the pavement. So with the stabilizers, we have to have something solid to set that truck up on in order to be able to even operate it. So we have to be able to be a distance from the building and project out in order to access the building in a rescue situation. In a firefighting situation, the higher you are and more directly above the fire you could get, the better off you are as far as being able to hit the actual fire itself.
Would it help with the Clark Center?
Do what?
Would it help with the Clark Center? That
Yeah.
4-story, okay.
Yeah, yeah, especially if there was something in the center, in the center of that. We're not gonna get to it. We've already been up there and looked at that 75-foot with our present ladder truck there. Yeah, we're gonna be in trouble.
Okay.
So, any other questions on the ladder?
Go back to the rescue pumper coming in 2026. Is it gonna replace, and can we resell or release that current truck, or what's the plan with it?
What will actually happen is, I think, I know Commissioner Gaspar has, and I think I supplied you guys with my presentation on that. So what will happen is the 89 Pierce Dash that we have, which was a custom truck, but it's a 1989 model, and it's a reserve pumper at this point, will be replaced. The old rescue truck will go back to replace that. So we'll have a 2001 replacing an 89, and a 2026 replacing a 2001. So that would leave us our 2 frontline engines and the ladder truck roll on all structure fires. This rescue pumper could also be a reserve pumper or a front pumper if something goes down.
So,
Rest of capital, battery-powered extrication equipment, it's just got a sign of the times. Everybody's going to lithium-ion, just about everything. We could possibly try to sell one of our older units. Speaking with the rep from Amcus, which we swear by Amcus tools, no one's buying them. If we found a little department somewhere that was just looking for some rescue equipment, we might be able to sell those, but everyone's going to the lithium ion, so that was pretty self-explanatory. The big one, Dave and I have talked about this, the 350 gallons of K500 foam. K500 foam is a totally encapsulating foam. It takes down all the sides of the fire tetrahedrons so you don't have the combustion, and it also encapsulates whatever the solution is, or whatever you're trying to fight. There's and what we would do is incorporate this into all vehicle fires. We'd start attacking all vehicle fires with foam, which we do not presently do. Because with what we're flowing now, you have to try to contain that and deal with that foam with the PFAS. And so
the foam, that also has commercial applications for fighting fires out here, does it not?
Sure. What we do, what we use redneck foam a lot.
Redneck?
Redneck foam, yeah. And Monett's pretty big on that. We'll have a couple of bottles, the big bottles of Dawn dishwashing soap in every truck. And we'll squirt that into the stream, and that's like a wetting agent for a Class A fire structure, you know, just wood frame, and it works really well, but that could also be used for that. But it would definitely be used for all vehicle fires, even in house fires now. If it's a lithium-ion type situation, we could use that.
So the foam we have today does have PFAS in it?
Yes, yes.
So we're,
The problem we have is getting rid of it.
yeah.
So I was contacted by SEMA, gave what we had. They're supposed to be setting up collection sites. Haven't heard anything else on it. Dave would be a great resource on that and be able to help me out on that. But
We have it in inventory, but are we using it?
yeah,
We are still using it.
yes, we don't have any choice.
Keep in mind, this is a known cancer-causing agent, exposes all of our staff to those cancer-causing agents. If we use it, it creates an environmental concern. If we use it at the airport, it's a violation of FAA rules, if I remember correctly. And we have explored options to pay for this with grant money, and we're going to keep exploring options to pay for the foam, the SCBA's in particular, and we can talk about the hazmat suits to help find at least partial funding for those. But you know, these PFAS, every time a firefighter uses that PFAS, we are exposing them to yet another carcinogen, and at very least, that raises our risk profile because we're continuing to use this agent. So.
So the next one would be the 4 SCBA's. This would bring us up to MSAs on all of our apparatus. My big deal on that is these guys train extensively in these SCBA's. Blacked out, they have to do it by field, they have to be able to put them on, take them off, switch out, find a regulator, they have to do all of that. Each SCBA is different. If these guys are going to train on them, I want them to have the same SCBA's in every situation, so they're not trying to adjust to learn a new SCBA in a life and death situation.
I remember a couple of years ago when we were talking about, SCBA's, that they have an expiration date associated with them, right?
Well, these should last, technically,
The ones you're talking about on the capital request?
yeah.
Talking
So
about the ones we have.
the big thing is the bottles. What goes out of date are the bottles.
Okay.
And by the time that the bottles actually go out of date, your service life for your SCBA is pretty much done to.
But do we have any in that category?
We do. Yeah. The
Is
ones,
that what you're looking to replace here, is those that are out of date?
right.
Okay.
Well, outdated. So, yeah, they're part of the Honeywells that we had that was such a bad deal that we got
Yeah.
in trouble on.
Yeah.
So those are on our hazmat trailer right now,
Okay.
and we're still trying, no one will work on them. So no one will flow test them, which are supposed to be done, and we just can't get anything done with them. So we're looking to get those replaced with these right here.
Okay.
So the Kepler Zytron Level A hazmat suits, we have some suits on there that are 2013s on our hazmat trailer. So I would like to see everything stay 5 to 6 years on any of the hazmat suits. We do test those annually, but we need to look at replacing those. Remodel, and I'm trying to get through my time here, but remodel for Station 1 and furniture. Station 1 hasn't changed in the 29 years altogether that I've been here. So other than a water leak and where we put some new sheetrock up. Bathroom issues, sink, kitchen issues, and still have the old 1960s or whatever paneling on the walls. So that one's, there's a serious need on that. And then the last one with the thermal image cameras, just looking at upgrading thermal image cameras are kind of like our computers. Basically another computer that we can see in smoke with these thermal image cameras, and just have to stay on top of that. And
That's essential for hotspots, right? That's what you use it for.
not only essential for hotspots, but it's also essential in a rescue situation with a RIT team, a
We call
rapid.
them out for search. When we were looking for somebody and we need thermals, we call them out. They bring
Yeah.
thermals out for us.
So rapid intervention team are the two firefighters that are on the outside in case something happens to the two that are on the inside. The two go down that are on the inside, we're going in with two from the outside, which is Rapid Intervention Team, or RIC. But we use those going in to try to find those guys. And also in a house fire, we have, I still try to make the guys train by field, but this is the best tool that they have going in, is to be able to look through a thermal scan. It's my deal. Other than 1.8, there's not a whole lot of expense there, but that is a serious need on a ladder truck.
Other than that,
Yep.
Other than 2 million, not much to it.
Yeah.
are we in any violation of liability with using that redneck product that you mentioned a minute ago? I mean, is that
Other than-
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely not. That's a big, that's just, Dawn dishwashing, all it does is it's a surfactant and it's a wetting agent. And it will help stick to the, whatever product you're spraying it on. And we can do that, and as long as the guys, it's a bad habit, everybody wants to go back and wash it off, and there's no need, because it's a wetting agent. Once you wash that off, you've lost your wetting agent. So that's not a big deal. A lot of people do it, but I think we kind of started doing it here for this area.
very interesting?
Okay.
Okay, break.
Well, why don't we just, can we do a Public Works?
Sure.
I'm not ready to really take a break.
Sure,
I think
okay,
we still
yeah.
got some steam. Oh, sorry, Dave. Do you need 10 minutes to get ready there, should we?
not 10, but I'll be close.
They've been using that, they've been using the redneck phone for a long time. We use that when it's fire starters. And, because we couldn't afford phone, and they use it to clean things, and it's really safe for animals and that.
Mike's got a date.
Wonder, would it kill the air?
Mike's got it.
We don't just stuff like it kills and get rid of fire smell, they can just start putting right up.
And if you get a dong that smells good, then you get a nice scent. to the
Nice scent,
entire-
that's-
A nice scent to the entire residence.
That's so good. Past the burning, whatever.
Right.
Thank you for your patience, appreciate it.
Looks good already.
There's your graphics there, Dave.
I can't tell you, I'd have to. It's not for sale. So, start,
Thank you, young man.
I'll just say that, like I say, the most important thing on my agenda is the employees. Especially since the issues that have came up as of recent. I think there's a lot of eggs in the basket on the wage study. So, I'm not gonna dwell on that anymore. I'll go quick. I'll make a.
You're ahead of the game, buddy.
So Public Works, just some of the things that encompass the Public Works Department. We're spread out a bunch of different ways. I'll just start at the top. Promise I'll go quick. Cemetery is, they're a bunch of happy campers. They're in a new facility. Got a mower replaced last year. I hit them up. They said the only thing they wanted was a new set of shoes for their little mini Traco. So I put it up there anyway, because that's the only thing they could come up with. And I approached them numerous times, but they're very appreciative of their new facility. The pickup trucks that they got, the new mower, so. Did the columbarium project a couple years ago, so.
I'm glad they're happy. It makes me happy. South Park, we'd like to replace this John Deere mower. It's 2013. Seems to be a pretty prevalent topic, the age of the equipment and machines and stuff. So I'm glad that we had this thing where we can all hear that, because, you know, it's like Jeff was saying, you just assume, you know, but you get in this group environment like this, you realize that, hey, there's other departments that have legitimate needs just like your department. So we'd like to get that one replaced. It's 2013 with 3,800 hours. Their building, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, sits up on top of the hill up here. It's probably older than I am. It's an old MoDOT facility. So it's hard to see here, but this is their bathroom. They got one little sink there. They're in there with a water heater right out in front of that room. This is where those guys, 7 of them, in the summertime, that's where they eat their lunch and take their breaks. They have absolutely no escape from the heat. Flies are terrible. I feel for them. The cemetery in the North Park, there were long lines in that same thing. They couldn't get out of the heat. They work in the heat. They're working with hot machines and stuff. There's no escape. There's no time to recharge. That's what these guys are in that same boat. There was an idea that maybe we could do the same type of facility with the golf course, like a dual usage, save some money there, because I know, same thing, I realize the golf course has needs too. That's an estimate, just what it would cost to...
If we share with the golf course, where are we located?
Down on Waldensian.
Okay.
I think that would be the best place. We got a lot of flat ground there. A lot of access would be good. Haven't checked with Skip yet on utilities. He may argue with me there, but I think it's doable down there. We're not too far from like where the concession stand for the volleyball fields and stuff, you know, that's on sewer. So, I mean, I think it's doable, and power's there too, so I think it's doable, but that would be something to look at. And I don't expect it this year, but I'd just like to get it in the conversation. I realize that stuff takes time. That's the only reason it's up there. You guys are more than happy. Come this summertime, or as far as that goes, this place isn't the greatest in the winter time either. Go up there and check it out.
Still have the little old stove in there, little wood stove?
No, can't have a wood stove in a, we had to take that out because of the insurance.
That's where when I worked at the highway department.
They didn't want me to take it out because of the heat, but we had to.
It's everything for that building, just to hold the equipment.
Yeah.
There in the wintertime, and it's really close quarters in there.
Yeah, it's terrible. They want a gator. Paul has somehow kept this thing running for eons. It's a 1993 and we got it secondhand. So, and you know, he does work miracles, but he shouldn't have to. So we're putting in to get these guys a gator. They need it. Like I said, secondhand. The picture tells that story pretty well. With the new Parks and Recreation tax that we passed, this is a rendition that was submitted to us by Miracle. We'd really like to put in a mega playground for the kids. This unit right here, it has the poured in place servicing, getting rid of the pea gravel and the wood chips and the bark and the mulch and all that. Super clean. 200 kids can play on this at one time. It's pretty awesome. I mean, I could put 1,000 pictures up there, but it's needed. And I might also add that we're upgrading the ones out at North Park, the playgrounds out there. We're putting in a smaller system too. Kiwanis is doing a fundraiser. They're gonna be upgrading the Kiwanis playground out here at South Park. So it's, you know what I mean?
Well, this is going to be at the work session a week from now. We're going to cover this.
I'm just kicking it out there. I think, you know what I mean? In case somebody hasn't heard about it. North Park's sports complex out there at the north side of town, of course. These pictures just, they look a lot better on the monitors, but anyway.
We need to be on a different wall.
Same thing, they'd like to get one of those gators too, just for, they have a hard time, like when the summer help and stuff comes, they only have one RTB right now, and you need multiple people in different places. And most of the time, they don't really need something as large as a pickup truck to drive out onto the fields and stuff. It's not all that useful. So they have one, but, and then Larry wants another water reel. I don't know if you guys have seen it or paid attention to it, but if you want to see how quick and early and good a growth of grass can come in, go out there to North Park, because I guarantee you his will be green and being mowed for 2 months before yours at home will ever even think about turning green. He does an outstanding job, and
With just water or chemical?
both. He's literally taking courses and stuff like a golf course superintendent does. I call him a grassologist. You know, I don't want it done because I don't want to be mowing 2 or 3 months more than what I already did. But Larry does an excellent job out there. So he needs another water reel. I just don't have enough knowledge to question him.
Hey Dave, going back to that, for irrigation itself, would it ever be more economical for us to just install an irrigation system in ground over time?
I don't know. It'd have to be something I looked into.
Thought of that.
It comes and goes. You know,
Right.
we last couple of years we've had these giant dry spells,
Right.
and they're out there running 3 of them.
Right,
You know, consistently.
but that's only 5 days a week.
Yeah.
But
So
may I say something? On the golf course, if you ever notice that if you have a system that's in place, there's a little divot there. And if you got kids running over the field, hit that little divot or whatever, and there was a lot of maintenance to that. But that's the only part.
David, what you just showed us on, is that going to help with the watering the grass down on the soccer fields?
they actually have their own,
Okay.
the same system,
Oh, okay, I got you.
the exact same thing, except they're.
North Park, got it?
I mean, it looks motorable, and it is to a certain extent, but not over the road motorable. Around the facility, yes, but that's something that if you wanted to move it from A to B, they'd be fighting over it, and you'd have to put it on a trailer, so. South Park does have their own system to water the soccer fields. Larry is running a 1997 Kubota with 7,139 hours, and it's a sight to behold. He would like to have that replaced. I'd like to see it replaced because it looks like a rolling fire bomb to me.
What are the major uses for this?
With Larry, everything from loading material into like the spreaders and stuff for the baseball field maintenance. He screens his own dirt because the stuff that I screen for the street department guys doesn't meet Larry's qualifications for application to a playing surface. He's very particular. He has his own screening system, and so he's constantly screening. He loads dirt, he top dresses constantly. He's doing something somewhere at one time or another. So it just comes down to needing something with a bucket on it, basically to load the screener, to load the materials into the top dresser and stuff. And like I said, 7,139 hours. It's got a bad enough oil leak on it that Paul says the only way to fix it is to split the case and tear the whole thing.
Yes.
To basically cut it in half, right, Paul, to repair it?
Yes, sir.
Not worth it, people. It's too old and needs replaced. And the North Park Sports Complex has the tennis courts, 4 tennis courts out there. The high school uses them extensively for their tennis program. Stays lit up and used by the public until 11 o'clock during the playable months. I don't live too far from them. Huge. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy how often that facility is used. We've done the repair and patch by a company, year in and year out. We've broke the renovation cost over the last 5 years. It's probably time, instead of just doing the duct tape and baling wire repair, that we completely resurface it. And at that point, we might as well put up new fencing, new black fencing. I don't know if you guys have attended the sport, so much easier to see through for the spectators. And the old lights have just, they've been an issue. They're the kind that when the players come at night and they turn them on at the boxes, they gotta wait for them to warm up and before they come on. The school, I've approached them and they're want to get on board with a donation towards the lights because they need it. A lot of times their tournaments and stuff, when high school tennis start in the daytime, run into the evening, they would really like to see the lights replaced. So, let's get that done.
Hey Dave, on the fencing, is that including expanding the fence out beyond the current area right now so that we put the bleachers inside?
No,
It does not?
No.
So that's just replacing the fabric itself?
that's replacing the pole, that's replacing the whole,
Poles, fabric,
Everything.
but in the existing
but in the existing
perimeter?
area. As far as the bleachers, we've done all that work and poured. Now all the bleachers are actually on pads.
Yeah,
So,
I think it'd always be nice to move the fencing out beyond the pads.
Yeah.
So the bleachers are inside.
we could look at that option. I mean, I'm sure there would be a cost there.
Oh,
but,
of course, yeah.
You know, there always is,
Yeah.
you know. But really like to get that done. Moving on, street department, here's a good one for you people.
But before we move on, is there anything on this list for the parks that cannot be paid out of the park tax?
Just
I mean, everything,
every bit of equipment, building, the whole $1 million building, whatever, all that stuff I'll be able to done out of it.
But we don't have a war chest there,
Yep,
it just
it's not
started.
enough.
Sandra will tell you
Yeah,
that.
I
She's
understand.
explained it to me.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying nothing is off limits by the ordinance. Anything to do with parks, we can use money in that account, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I have one question also before you go on to the next one.
What is it?
The donation, was it possible Monett R1 donation, is that number an annual or is that an accumulated time to get $137,000?
It comes and goes,
The 137 is the total of that list, correct?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's why I put a little asterisk by it.
Yeah, the
That's not their
donation.
donation, although I would like it to be, that would just, that would kill the whole thing. That is the total project cost for the surface renovation, the fencing, and the new LED lighting.
Okay.
The school, I approached them as far as the lighting, not any other part of it.
Darren, just to give you a little bit more color on that, the tennis coach is working on some grant opportunities to help with much of that.
And I'm working on some too.
Nice.
Already submitted for the lighting for
You good there?
and everything.
Thank you.
No, thank you. The street, Mickey, we run a leaf collection program each year that we make compost out of, that we sell back to the public. don't know if sell's a good word, practically give it away. Anyway, this machine has been here as long as I have, and sorry for the typo. It's not $5,800,000. Anyway, what do you do? It's a lot of hours, and our meter's been out for years. Paul and these guys have rebuilt this thing 3 times completely that I know of, and it's the goodies gone out of it. We've welded up fuel tanks on it, and Paul's stripped it down, and it's done. I mean, it's gone that many years, you know what I mean? It's good. We'll be lucky if we get scrap metal price
We
out
put a
of it.
remote tank on it this year.
I didn't want to get into it. But anyway, yeah, Paul and them, seriously, they really do miracle stuff. You know, the fuel tank started, and you can only imagine what kind of safety issue that is. So when the fuel tank starts leaking like a sponge, within hours, Paul's borrowed a fuel tank from another machine, mounted around the back, had the guys up and going. It's pretty cool. It's really neat that Paul can think out of the box like that and get the guys, because the guys, this is a wintertime project. It's between Thanksgiving and Christmas. They're like, go, 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 go. We want to get this done. We want to be done with it. And Paul's always really been good about miracles. So that's one of them for it. We would like to get a compact track loader. Here's our track loader right now. It's not a track loader. It's a skid steer. Same thing. First year I was here, we got this. It was a sweet machine back in 1997. But it's done. It's got 1,822 hours on it. The goodies gone out of it too.
What are the major uses for this?
Everything from milling pavement to, we'd like the new one to be able to have a snow box on it, to where we can do parking lot work with a snow box. It does dirt work around public works projects. Runs a thing that picks up rocks. You know,
That's what's on it now.
yeah, you can't really see it, but a lot of different stuff. The different attachments that, you know, that we would hope to get for it would have like a flat blade, like a mini bulldozer, snow box, a hammer for when we need to tear out concrete, existing concrete, set of forks. They call that a power rake or a rock rake or whatever that's on it now. And then like I said, a milling head. We'd like a milling head for it. Dump truck. Need a dump truck. Need a dump truck bad. Same thing. Here's another one of Paul's miracle projects. And it's got, this truck was originally purchased brand new for the city, has 94,523 city miles on it, and it's done. It's getting to that point where Paul's working on it all the time. You know what I mean? It's had electrical issues for years, and I don't know how he doesn't just push it out of his shop and set it on fire. I really don't. But he's kept it running. Like I said, it's time to replace it. Stormwater maintenance needs that came up after the concrete truck collapsed. We've got some issues here in town. They're not going to go away. We've been reactive through the years instead of proactive, and we need to change that. We need to, instead of waiting for something bad to happen with stormwater, like a concrete truck falling into it, we need to be out there replacing the sections that need replaced. The central project will encompass some of it, but I wanted to put a number in there because I'm not exactly sure how much yet. That number also represents the piece on Kale Street. Has another terrible section in it from 9th to 10th that needs replaced. So it's something that we do in-house, but
Is that enough?
It's still costly as far as renting the equipment, and then like, all the precast storm, water pieces are expensive.
Is that enough of an amount? I know one time we were
No,
talking
it's
about.
not, but it'll give you guys something to okay, and then we'll change it when I need it.
Well, the reason why I asked that, because I thought at one time we were talking somewhere north of 900,000.
Well, that was when we were gonna go back in and do the park because the central project getting killed.
Got it.
Okay, well, now that it's back on the table,
So
that's not a super accurate number.
Okay.
But with rentals and stuff, we can probably get Kale Street done for about 50 grand. That's giving us 100 to do any patchwork that the central project doesn't encompass. I'm hoping that it just encompasses all of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
That's probably not realistic.
yeah, seems low to me, but yeah.
Yeah, so. I'm just gonna keep, I'm not gonna give up, I'm gonna keep hammering. Paid a couple of years ago for a pavement study by an outside engineering group, so it would be fair, so can be, nobody can say, well, this is all geared towards so-and-so council that's in here. They're getting theirs done way before mine's worse than theirs, blah, 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 whatever. Had this outside engineering firm come in here and give us a plan. All we need to do is commit to it. And I do say commit. It really shouldn't be a, yeah, let's do that first year and we'll get back to it a few years after that. It's not like that. This is an issue. It's not gonna go away. It's not gonna magically get better. Years like this, with this kind of weather conditions, they terrify me because you cannot believe the amount of pavement that can blow up from temperature fluctuations like what we're having. And so we need to start. We need to start somewhere. And
Yeah, Dave, this is what, a 20-year plan to do all the streets in the city limits, correct?
30 years.
30 years?
Yeah. Is it 20?
20.
Is it 20?
Yeah, then it repeats.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd be making a commitment of about 1.3, 1.5 million, that'll probably be great.
It fluctuates every year.
Yeah.
But the plan I saw gets us around 1.5 mil every year in investment.
Yeah, see, that's better than that number. So
Yeah, okay, Dave.
you saw it come in low, you know what I mean? It's come in low.
There are some years it's half of that number.
The biggest thing is the commit.
Yeah.
You know, let's quit kicking the can down the road. Let's, you know, does it have to be that? No, but let's start. Let's get it started. I really think that if you could institute this, the public could see it. This could be put on the website. They could go, oh man, did you see where they paved such and such section? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you can go on the website and look, and it'll actually tell you on there when they'll be doing yours. You know what I mean? May not be that year. It may be 5 years from then, but at least you can look at that and go, I'm on the list, you know? The city's committed to this, and they're gonna get around to my neighborhood soon. Hopefully even later. Slope mower, this is something new. State Department's using them pretty extensively. Eisenhower and Centennial become jungles in the summertime, in the springtime, and they remain jungles throughout the year. And I do not have, I have some guys that would get out there on a mower if I let them, but the slopes are they're too extreme. We looked into a different avenue on this. We had some companies come out and we tested some mowers here at the South Park that had dual wheel setups on them and stuff, and they were a lot more stable. But they still are very dependent upon the operator. Decision making, accessing slopes and different stuff. And it's just like, they're in the same price range as this. I don't have to endanger anybody. That guy can stand at the bottom of the hill and run slow more. And it's, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, it bugs me. We try to keep the rest of it trimmed up and looking nice and the guardrails and everything. And then it's like poof. And a lot of times it is that high right there. To me, it's unsightly. I would much rather have the whole thing parkish looking, you know? But that's what it would cost to get us into that. Greene County, MoDOT, they're all using them. This is like the middle of the road one right here. It's not super fancy.
That's for a new one, correct?
Yeah. And as part of the pavement plan, I had a discussion with, me and Randy talked about it, and the pavement plan takes care of all the roads. It doesn't take care of any of the alleys. Originally, Monett's alleys were paved, but they're not really paved anymore. They're in really bad shape. Mine are, however idea you want to look at it. I told Randy, right now I have the equipment and knowledge on my crew to where we could run a small paver and start off doing alleys and maybe parking lot work around the city. We can run the small dump trucks to the asphalt plant. We have steel wheeled rollers. We have the pneumatic rollers. We can do that on a smaller scale. Now, if it was successful and, you know, down the road, maybe we could upgrade and start doing part of the pavement preservation plan ourselves. But I can't say that without getting in on the smaller end of it first. It's just, I'm putting it out there. Do I expect it? No.
Are you gonna have to expand your workforce if you start doing this?
No, not right now. Not for the small. Not for the alley and small.
Is that a
work.
smaller paver?
This is so small that Caterpillar, they bought this company up, Weiler, because of it being the smaller ones. Like the Greenway trails that run through the park and through the golf course, this is the type of unit that they would use to do that. And it's capable of doing some, I think 14-foot paths, but not big street work. Conversation piece, you know, if you guys doing your books and Sandra just happened to find $230,000 floating around. So we'd like to do sanitation, pretty good. We're having some issues. Paul is constantly working on. We're having some emissions issues on the DEF system on our automatic side loader, and Paul's working hand in hand with
Right now, it's under warranty, everything has, but in 2027, that truck goes out of warranty on the regen part of it.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be very expensive. Right now, what we're doing is working with Freightliner in Detroit to make a case and see what we can get out of Detroit to get this truck where it will last us for a while.
Yeah. Paul's just absolutely forbidden me to buy anything Detroit Motors in, so, you know what I mean? I gotta capitulate to Paul on that.
It's not the engine, it's the emissions that it puts out.
So with the new rear loader and that truck, it's fairly new, it's 3 years old. We're pretty good equipment-wise, but we definitely need to keep chipping away at the regular trash carts that are at the houses. The original cans that the city bought in 1996, they have a 20-year lifespan. We're 45% over on about pretty close to 50% of the cans in the city. We rebuild them And then we finally kick them out and recycle them when they're just to the point where they just won't take it no more. So we've been trying to put new cans into the system every year, and this is a low end of what I'd like to see. Another 728 of them this year. Same thing, dumpsters, trash is very corrosive. It just eats them up, eats the bottoms of them out. So we need 10 of the 2 yards, which is the smaller ones, and we need 5 of the big ones.
Those are just for our use, right?
Huh?
Those are just for our use, the city's use, those dumpsters.
Well, they're at churches.
So we do have a commercial,
No?
should we? Can we?
We could, if you guys want to get into the compete.
We'll have to talk about it.
Sandfield and,
Doty.
yeah, Doty,
Money's in commercial.
yeah. Well, money's good. I can get some numbers and we can get something figured out if we can go that way, but, again, you're talking about having to expand the fleet.
You need front loaders.
And, would be nice, and well, the containers that go with it. I presented Mr. Weiner with a bunch of numbers about getting into the great big commercial roll-off deals, but it's pretty expensive. It didn't, the return on it was far too long. It was gonna take like 15, 16 years before we seen any.
Is the Aurora transfer station open?
It's not going to be, it fell through.
No kidding.
Yeah, so that was a deal, but no, we're stuck with Verona. Sometimes we're stuck with Verona. Today, I had to send 3 trash trucks all the way to Springfield because Verona was closed, Neosho was closed, Joplin was closed. And we just, in order to do the trash route, they had to go all the way to Springfield, so. I'll get you guys whatever information you want. You know, if it's an avenue that you think we should be pursuing. We haven't in the past because of didn't want to compete with the local businesses, is what I was told, why we didn't do that. Per council, previous council, you know, things change, councils change, attitudes change. I can get you guys whatever information you want if you give me time to do it. The recycle and compost facility down there, I'd really like to get this, it's a bagging machine. Right now we sell it bulk, and you either have to have a trailer or a pickup truck, and we sell it by the bucket loads. And there's just so many people that have hit me up about, they only want enough for a flower bed, multiple times older women. I just wish I could buy a bag like at Walmart. I do my house plants with it, just little stuff. It would just open it up immensely and make the whole composting thing here in the city is just a giant success story.
Yep.
And it would just completely open that up to not only our community, but you know, we figure the whole surrounding area. There's people that come from a long ways off to get the compost. I'd really like to see us do that. Casino. Last year we did the visual upgrade. The sound is not good here. It's subpar. It doesn't match it needs to be upgraded. It was supposed to be done at the same time, but it didn't happen, so I'm putting it back in the budget. I'm not gonna give up. I wanna see, we need to, if we wanna keep calling this a state-of-the-art facility, then we need to keep it up. You know, we need to do these things. It's no different from you replacing a TV, you know, at your house. You know, it's along the same lines. You have to, technology is just, it moves at the speed of light anyway. Kind of like what George Dowd was talking about earlier. So we need to keep up. The storm shelter, and I think Dave's touched on this with some of the guys too, it kind of worries me when we have these giant events out here during tornado season, that there's really not a place for them to go here. And that's, whether that be hindsight 2020 or whatever, but I would like to see something.
Is what connected to this building or a separate building?
Well, I'd like to see it connected to this building where they didn't have to go outside to get to it. And I think it could be done if we talk to.
Because this building's not a storm shelter, correct?
Correct. But it needs to be. When you have hundreds of people here, don't you think, I mean, I think.
can't shove 300 people in the ladies' restroom.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can't do that.
No, they can. He just doesn't like doing it. It gets really hard to push after 150.
It's all about stacking them.
I would like to do that. I would like to at least look into it. Richard Warner, the guy that's done so much engineering for us in the past, he could, I'm sure, would tell you that.
I mean, that doesn't sound, the capacity of this would be how much? People capacity, so we don't have to stack it.
What's the max?
605, I do believe.
605?
Yeah.
600?
Yeah.
And that's.
Large facility.
That's pretty, so $150,000 for 600 is is a conservative number. I think if we look at mitigation money, mitigation money is a real opportunity for storm shelters, and that's how we've paid for some of our other shelters. I think there's an opportunity for us to look at that and help finance part of that with grant money. We may have to enlarge the capacity, and it may cost us a little more if we're using federal dollars. It always seems to cost a little bit more, but we'd have a better facility, and it would cost the city ultimately less to do it that way. So I'm more than happy to explore that with Dave and the casino crew.
Good.
Can you potentially turn it into what Marshall Hill is, where it's a community building where you can rent it out just the same, so you can make some money off that?
100%. If we're going to build a storm shelter on, we want to build it in such a way that it can be used as an additional room. It enlarges our capacity here for parties, because I know we already hit our capacity fairly often here. So this enlarges our capacity for additional smaller parties and serves as a safe room at the same time. And we can use hopefully use some federal money to help us pay for that. So yeah, we'll definitely dig into that deeper this year.
All right, moving on, the pavilion downtown. It's just an awesome facility, just the way it is. I don't want to do too much, but for years and years and years, we just keep going on about this roof thing. They're supposed to be putting up on top of the silo. Man, for Pete's sake, let's get it done. Let's get it lit back up the way it's supposed to be. That's what all these are. They've been disconnected because the electric department was under the impression that, oh, they start talking about this roof, they're gonna do it. And we haven't done it. And that thing was so cool looking. You could, I'm sure spot it from an airplane when we flew over Monett, but come on, man, let's somehow, some way.
Dave, is that a Monett Main Street project?
Yeah, it is. We just, somebody that's on a board or something, or has some influence with them, needs to get it done. You know what I mean? It's not me. The community building, the FEMA shelter that David touched on earlier, he had approached me. When it was originally built, the doors activated with storm sirens like they're supposed to. So immediately, sirens go off, people started coming, they have access to the building. Well, somewhere along the line, the system went down. It's never been repaired, not for lack of trying. Been trying to get it done for eons, but it's another thing. Dave's looked into it, we need to get it done. So
Absolutely.
that's why I put in conjunction with emergency management, because I'm pretty sure that Dave's gonna get it done. Not me, Dave, that Dave.
Hey, Dave always gets it done.
Swimming pool, it's, we did a bunch of canopy work there last year, and it was really expensive. Our biggest thing right now at the pool is maintenance on it. Costs a lot of money between the contract to run it and maintenance on it. There's nothing at the pool that's cheap. So, not looking to like put in any new slides or any of that stuff there, but trying to maintain it in a top-notch fashion. It's right there from the visible from the highway. People see it. It can either be a black eye or a golden star. I'm trying to keep it the golden star part. That's it. That's Safety Barrel Daryl, in case you guys don't know. If you'd like to meet him, you can come to the Public Works Day.
Okay, you got 10 minutes break and then be back. We've lost 5 minutes, so it's 2:45 for building.
Joey, I hope that shows up on your sheet. Does projection show up? They do.
Oh, in other words, scoot over, Mayor.
Scoot over, Mayor.
That's what I'm hearing. The feeling is mutual.
This is something capital. That's next idea.
Okay, but, yeah, let's get on with the agenda. Let me take a look at that.
Okay, I'd certainly just show that to you, because I didn't have to.
All right, who's next? We got building code enforcement, is that correct? All right, go ahead, Mike.
This is my first time ever doing a budget, so I really wasn't sure what was expected of today. Mine's pretty short and simple. Seems to be that capital expenses are what everybody's looking at. I'm asking for $2,000 just in case one of my trucks break down. I'm hoping to not even use that $2,000. But we do have an 11-year-old pickup truck that, you know, it's a possibility. And that's it. That's all I have in my capital expenses.
You're fully manned, right? Yeah,
We are.
if you need.
Correct. Yep.
So we got code enforcement, that Diego, right?
No. Wes Hornman is my code enforcement officer, and then assistant building inspector is Carlos.
Carlos, yeah.
All right. So we're fully staffed. As far as I know, the building doesn't need any major repairs or anything, so.
You just want that ping pong table, right?
Yeah.
You want a ping pong table?
Yeah.
Good answer, Mike, good answer.
I want a full table.
All right, Jeff, sorry we started without you.
Yeah, no, go right ahead.
Okay.
You're done, then? Yeah. Good.
All right, so other general fund departments, administration.
So basically, this past year, admin got hit real bad because we created 3 new departments. So obviously, operation costs went up. The only thing that we're looking at really with that part is increasing like, obviously wages, benefits, stuff like that, but travel, education, so with those departments. Also supplies, office supplies.
All right, so the 3 departments you're talking about are communications, human resources, and emergency management.
Yeah, finance. No, emergency management has its own budget. So all those departments that we created comes out of the admin. So.
Okay, so those were not in last year's budget, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
And we're also allocated, admin is allocated out between admin, water, electric, and sewer. So
Yep.
Skip's budget gets
Oh,
a pretty
okay,
good
I
hit.
got you. Sarah,
So-
electric pays for most of the stuff.
All of us.
Yep.
Everyone in City Hall is allocated. So one thing that you'll see that has a big jump is like our fuel expense, because right now when we travel, we also hit Skip's fuel expense. So requesting admin fuel expenses for whenever we go to conferences and stuff. So the only capital that we're requesting is computers. I've talked to Alex and it looks like I think $10,000 is all we're requesting for the computers. He said that is a pretty good amount. most of the computers have been replaced throughout the city between 21 and 20 and 21, so they're right around their lifespan. So I do know that one of the collections computers downstairs is really slow, and it makes it really hard for them to do their work. So we want to try to get that one replaced as soon as possible.
Downstairs collection.
In collections, yeah. And then I know Sandra stole a computer from one.
Mine crashed.
From there,
In my defense, it crashed.
So we gotta get that replaced.
That's why my mouse doesn't work anymore. I'm still bitter about this.
So that is the main capital that admin's asking for is replacement of computers.
Okay, I got you. But on the IT stuff, because we did our exercise, and there's probably some upgrades, or there's probably some significant investment there.
Once we have an improvement plan authorized by council, which will be at the next meeting, yeah, there will definitely be some expense there. We have some significant vulnerabilities in almost all of our systems.
Okay, that's going to be a closed session, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Because of the nature. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Kelly, what else you got?
That's it.
All right. Emergency management, Dave?
Sure. So I narrowed, really, I'm just going to kind of cover the high points of this. And really, the emergency management program evolves around 3 ideas this year: exercise, engagement, and enhancement. And all of our projects and all of our expenses are focused on those 3 items. In the exercise space, we looked at we looked to have, we already had a discussion-based exercise. We look to have a functional exercise coming up here in the spring, more likely than not around a natural hazard that will allow us to have some actual, if you will, realistic simulation in a command and control structure as well as in a field component, so that we can exercise additional departments. I'm also looking to add community-based exercises. I'm actually really wanting to gamify that for the community involvement, but we'd like to start with our downtown business owners and have a gamified community exercise. So it'd be community preparedness exercise. What goes into that? We have a lot of different options there. I think we can make it small enough to where they get a good experience, but it only takes a couple of hours to do it. And we're going to engage with Monett Downtown Association, Monett Downtown, and always Main Street, Monett Main Street. Thank you, sir. Monett Main Street around scheduling that, probably late spring, early summer. And then I'd like to engage with the Chamber of Commerce to do a very similar thing, maybe on a little bit larger scale toward the fall.
When we do things, do we ever tie into other organizations outside the city, like SEMA is the one I think of?
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on the scale, depending on the scope of our exercise. So like the IT exercise was really focused within the city. When we do a functional exercise, we will definitely tie into county and state partners. I usually leverage the Red Cross or someone like that, and we exercise their canteening abilities, which means that they bring snacks. But they do that, and they do that as part of their mission, but they also do that
Who's
as practice.
paying for the snack?
They do.
Oh.
I don't pay for anything I don't have to pay for. I'm as cheap as they come. So that allows them to practice how they interact with us. And so it's valuable and it's well within their mission. We're looking at the airport because the airport has some things coming up, and so we may try to do some smaller scale things there around that.
Okay.
Then each one of those exercises comes with improvement activities afterwards, and that really plays into not only just practicing, but learning from what we exercise and then improving upon that. Our first mission is to improve on our cyber program. There's a lot of enhancements I feel like we're going to need to make there, and so that's going to be our first large improvement project. We don't have dollars for that yet because we don't know what council will approve on that and what direction we want to go, and what direction we choose to go will dictate a lot of those dollars. But quite frankly, I mean, we're already spending a lot of money, so it may just be a matter of reallocating the way we're spending that money to make it reasonable. The second piece of that is engagement, and so our engagement really deals with engaging with the public. We do that a lot. Mike and I were talking about that. I've blown up Facebook this week with I think we had 20 messages go out around the winter storm. We see a spike in interaction with the public around those actual event messages. We pre-plan those messages, so we do pre-event, during event, post-event messages so that we're covering that entire time, and we engage in both English and Spanish wherever possible. I don't speak Spanish enough to translate that, so I rely on other partners that already have those translations done. But we are getting a lot of positive feedback on that. Community groups
You ever do after-action reports? I'm used to doing those.
Oh, we can, absolutely. Depending on the event, we absolutely can. We usually do at very least a hot wash. And that is a real short trip to just document that as an after-action. So,
Okay.
absolutely. We want to engage more in those community groups I mentioned a minute ago. Monett Main Street, Chamber of Commerce. Of course, to your point earlier, we engage with those regional partners with the Red Cross. I'm actually working on a project with the Latter-day Saints Church right now that would give us a redundant communication process that wouldn't cost us anything. It cost us a little bit of space, but it would give us a redundant communication process that we could use in an emergency that would be self-contained, and we would not even have to rely on even a cellular signal for that matter. So, and the LDS Church is part of their mission for that, and because we're within their stake, that the entire stake, Southwest Missouri stake, is working on this, and so we hope that we're going to be able to do that. In fact, we're probably going to try to expand it south so that we'll cover most of the county with it. We're also going to be working with, let's say, Chamber of Commerce, and I really think there's an opportunity here to engage with the Chamber of Commerce to do an overall community-wide business preparedness, so Monett Prepared program. And Monett Prepared would be working with individualized businesses on programs that they can institute in their business to improve their preparedness. As a community, that makes us more resilient. If we can make sure that our businesses are resilient, that means that we economically recover from disasters much faster. And one of the biggest issues post-disaster is economic recovery. And that's what this program would be around. We would have a few dollars that we put into it. Most of that would be some advertising as far as promotional type material and certificates and things like that. I'd love to be able to have something on their wall that says, we're part of Monett Prepares. That sort of thing to really play that program up. But I think we can work with the Chamber to do a lot of that. And that, again, engages our community and puts us in a position of economic recovery post-disaster. And then finally, our enhancement programs, and we've kind of touched on a couple of those. Our siren program, we've already been approved for a new storm siren here in the South Park. That I'm just waiting on the final bid so I can get a PO for that, and Dave and I will work together on the exact placement of that. It's already been approved. FEMA's already signed off on the environmental study, so we're good to go with that, and that is 100% paid for with a grant. Perfect. And that will allow us a variety of ways to contact people. In addition to the siren function, we'll have lightning detection, and we'll have the ability to use it as a PA system to announce to the park that we need to move people to a safe area. So it gives us a lot of functionality to that. We will be looking at our FEMA shelter. Dave mentioned that. I've already started. I've worked with Alex on that quite a bit. His ability to make that repair was not where it needed to be. He said himself that it was kind of outside of his scope, so we are looking to some other shelters. Our biggest issue is making sure that we replace the hardware in the door because it's bent, replace the activation software, and we want to make sure that will connect in seamlessly with the system that's already there. We feel pretty comfortable that we can do that. There's a lot of people around here using that, but that is on the top of our priority list to get done as we move into the springtime. For right now, we rely on our casino team to help us be on call to open those shelters up if we need to during a storm. And then finally, we're really looking to enhance our grant application. So mitigation grants. We just got awarded a grant. John needs physicals for all his firefighters because they serve in a hazmat role. That can cost around $9,000, $9,500. We got that 100% grant funded. And so he's already scheduling that out, and his guys will start getting those done in March.
March 6th.
March 6th. And again, 100% of that's going to be grant funded. And then I've been working with John on a grant program that he's already a member of to put me into that grant program so I can start researching some additional opportunities to fund some of these other projects that we need throughout the city. The final thing that's in the budget is to replace the deputy director. We've always had a director, deputy director. When I took over the interim spot, I was the director. Kelly took the position as deputy. She's obviously got her hands more than full with city clerk responsibilities, so I'm looking to replace that deputy director, ideally with a person that's already got all the requisite training and is current on their exercise requirements, because that keeps us grant eligible, and it decreases the expense to the city, because we hope to have somebody that's already been trained properly. We don't have to retrain.
Candidates?
Really, the best candidate right now is Russ Nichols out of Purdy. He lives in Purdy, but he's county's assistant emergency manager. He has a wealth of experience, also a Navy guy. You and Russ, I think you and Russ.
Yeah, we met at the North Pole back in 1986.
Yeah. So I think Russ has been my emergency manager, my deputy emergency manager for going on 10 years. He does a good job. He's already got all his credentials. He's already compliant on his exercise requirements, and so there's no additional expense to us to train him up. Now, I feel like we may want to look down the road and maybe have another person maybe have a second deputy type person. And I say that just to expand
Russ is as old as I am, so.
He is.
It's not that bad.
I had a lot of fun with him last year when he hit the big mark. But he's a good guy, and I feel like he's just somebody that steps into that role already running, and that's what we need right now. So those are the big things. We're not asking for a lot of additional money. I think as we go down through there, I think we kept things pretty much the same as they've been, so we're not looking to increase our budgets. We're just looking to maintain a lot of that, and you can see our capital outlay that really revolves around the sirens and the hazmat the hazmat physicals, things like that. And those are all things that, like I said, we were paying for in other ways, but they would come out of my capital budget. But we were paying for them with the exception of the shelter door repairs. The other $42,000 is all paid for out of grant money. So. The closer I can get to a net zero for our bottom line out of this department, the better off we are. So, no.
All right.
Questions?
Are you the grant writer yourself?
I've written 150 or so grants, mostly Fire Act grants, mostly FEMA Fire Act grants and mitigation grants. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Dave, I see you have a rather big jump in expected revenue for grant resources. Are you targeting specific grants?
So those are actually revenues I've already got committed. Those are committed. So yes.
50,000 is?
Yes, that's money that's already committed to us through the EMPG program, the supplemental program, which is paying for the siren, and then the supplemental LEP or HMEP program that is actually paying for the hazmat physicals.
Is that first one you talked about the one that also pays part of the salary?
EMPG pays 50% of that salary. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
We are because of our issues with because of the diversity of work we had in past years and the challenges we had with other commitments. We're going to be a year or two building that back up to where it needs to be.
Okay.
But the reality is that you have to be grant compliant, you have to be exercise compliant, you have to be training compliant to get all that money. So we're gonna spend the next couple of years rebuilding some of that. But we got a good relationship, so I feel comfortable that we're going to get some of that done.
Okay, thank you. On the wages, that seems awfully low.
I like your thinking. So I kept that at exactly what it was. That that was, I think, where's our wages at right there? 37,000.
Yeah, we're expecting to finish almost 37,000.
Yes.
For the year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're thinking 15.
No.
It was printed wrong.
It was printed
Sorry.
wrong. It's 37.
I had took Kelly out of that equation and forgot that he was replacing her.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's
Sam Yeah, it's 37.
37.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Sandra just took my part out of it and.
It's for free.
So everything else is going to jump as well, right?
Yes.
A little bit.
Little
They're
bit.
part-timers, so they don't have loggers.
Yeah.
So Social Security will be the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that number would already account for a deputy.
37.5 there?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, that would account for myself and my deputy, yeah, without any problems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I'm good. We're getting, making some significant improvements here, and we're not having to pay a lot of money, so I appreciate it.
You bet. You bet.
Let's see. Michelle, you got anything?
We don't have any capital to request. We do have a few things that we've had to increase over. This is mainly operating expenses. We had about a 48% increase in workload or work volume this year. So that just means we need more toner, more folders, more paper, which also trickles down into more time. So that's the increase in the overtime budget a little bit there. We did increase travel and education a little bit because of, there is a couple of fall seminars that I have not been able to go to or pay for out of my own pocket since I wanted to go and wasn't allocated for that. So we are increasing that a little bit to accommodate for that increase. And, but everything else is just pretty standard. Like I said, supplies go up, so therefore, whenever we use more supplies, we have to accommodate that price increase. So we've got some upgrades to software and some IT expenses and whatnot that.
Yeah, you're on a completely different software system, right?
We have a software that's provided by the state, that therefore we still have, word processing stuff and things like that that we need to upgrade currently. And we have not updated like the laptop that I use to take home for after hours work, weekend work, call in, do, email afterwards or correspond back and forth with the judge afterwards. We haven't upgraded that for a couple of years, so we're gonna do some work on that. So, but we didn't really have any capital to submit, so we're pretty easy.
Well, you figured out how to get that landscape so it's easier.
I know, we're trying to work on that.
My neck gets sore, we've got a lot of pages.
Have to add in a chiropractor bill for you.
I'll give you a tune-up for free.
Oh, there you go, Dave's starting to help us out.
I appreciate that. Okay, any questions for Michelle?
I got one statement. I checked our records since January 1, and our actual workload has increased additionally again, so whatever she submitted will actually be...
It'll try. It'll lag a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Judging by the workflow right now. And if you guys choose to approve the additional personnel, that would be an additional workload that will get pushed on her because they would be very proactive in their actions.
They are being very proactive, back to even days gone by, proactive stance. And we try our best to keep up with 23 sworn officers, the judge and I, so we do our best.
Just take up on that.
So we may need, I think what you're getting at in court, do we need to hire a part-time or is it, can you do that with the legal system?
We're unique in the aspect that it can't come, I can't borrow from another department because we have to be a separate, since we're a separate branch of government, our operating order states that it has to be a distinct designated person that only works in the court system. So I can't borrow someone from City Hall or, so it has to, or it certainly can't borrow one from the police department because it has to be, the appearance of
law and order
impropriety. So it is, I don't really need, unless something changes, I don't really need somebody 20 hours a week or anything like that. And then it's hard to find, it's so hard to find part-time people, and I mean, we just aren't to that point yet, but I mean, if something did happen to me, I don't have a backup, but we have a kind of a mutual aid, so to speak, agreement with a couple of other clerks that are in our circuit that we have stepped in and volunteered time at other locations to help accommodate if somebody's in the hospital or somebody has to have surgery or, it's just word of mouth verbal agreement, and it just because we're friends, so, yeah. It gets challenging sometimes, but we make it work. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right. I think that's all on general fund departments. Skip. All right. Probably revenue-wise, I went pretty conservative. Water and sewer, I basically used last year's. I know we've got a rate increase coming, but without kind of knowing where that was going to end up with, I just went conservative. Figured we can add later if need be. On electric, with our new contract coming into play in July.
This is the one with MPU.
Yep, with some of our different assets we'll be using. I went conservative there as well. I think we're actually going to get better pricing out of that, but at this point I don't know. So I'm kind of went for conservative. And with the numbers I've got, that's going to be roughly with the $800,000 transfer out of electric into general fund, all told, be about $4 million that goes into general fund out of utilities. So, and then some of the big items that we're looking at in water, for $17,000, I'm looking at building a bulk water station up by the utility building. Right now, they've just got a backflow preventer tied to a fire hydrant out there, and then somebody's basically almost got to be there. We've had people have to come in on the weekends. This would be a setup where people could come in with a credit card, and it would be set up for different gallons of water. It's hands off for the most part. It's a pretty good deal. We went over and looked at a setup at Carthage, and of course everything Carthage does is way fancier, but this is, I think we can get it done for about half the price they've done theirs. But I think we can do a pretty simple little setup up there, and it would allow people to get bulk water, like people want to fill pools or like the trailer park out there needing to get water for the well and stuff, that we don't have to run people in on the weekends. We're looking at replacing the water line down there by the recycle building. There's an old 2-inch that's in pretty rough shape. That's about a $25,000 project. We're going to upgrade and replace our AMI system for the metering for water. I'm estimating that to be about $1 million.
What's that do for us?
That allows us to read the meters remotely. Yeah. It's going to be a big, well, the system we have right now is just failing. It's not working. That was a try on my part that looked like it was going to save some money, but we've not got any kind of production out of the system, so we're only scrapping it. We've got to move on, because right now we're reading 200 or 300 meters a month, just trying to do a lot of stuff by hand that we shouldn't be doing right now. And so we're going to try to get our system caught up. It'll have, there's programs you can run on it to check for leaks and stuff. I think there's something there that will help folks, if you got a house or something. It allows the collection ladies to check reports occasionally and be able to notify customers, hey, it looks like you got abnormal use of water. Maybe they're on a leak before, at the end of the month, oh my God, I've got a 15,000 gallon leak, and oh my God, how do I pay for this, Yeah. So a lot of that can help.
So do we pay the $1 million up front? I mean, it's, okay, in some form.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the million's a guess. I'm based it off of our last time we went through this and tried to up the amount, and guesstimating how many. Last time I went cheap and didn't replace any of the meters, and I'm paying for that dearly. We're going to go ahead and do a meter change out this time and get new water meters in, which that kind of needs to be done every 10, 15 years anyway.
Is that ARPA funds? Is that, didn't we spend ARPA funds on that this past year?
Electric meters. We did for some electric meters.
Oh, okay, I got you.
No.
I don't know.
I thought that was
No, I
on the
don't
list.
I thought that was on the ARPA list, but
I know I had some money in the ARPA that Chris had talked about committing to our sewer project, but I don't know if any of it ever ended up. Let's see, we've got, I think Lucas had 1,400 feet of 2-inch out at South Park. He's wanting to replace water line. And then I've got a deal I'm trying to cook with the school for maybe a potential well site out there north of the high school. In return, they want an extension of main out there and be able to water some of their practice field and stuff, which if I can get it done for that, that's going to be a pretty good swap. You didn't hear that? Yeah.
I did.
Okay, thank you.
I'll take my glasses off.
where's the practice field now?
It's.
Is it behind the middle school?
It
The middle
is,
school?
yeah,
Okay.
beside the middle school.
Yeah, they're wanting to be able to irrigate that and water it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good for them, be good for us. Then there's a 2-inch line on 5th and Park, about 450 feet there that we'd like to replace with some 2-inch we'd like to replace with 8-inch. That's about a $32,000 project. And then I've got this kind of split between water and electric, but our radio system we use for the trucks is it's on its last legs. I mean, if it breaks, it's just done. We don't have a radio at this point. It's last time we had to have it fixed, they managed to find some salvage parts. There's no fixing it if it goes down, and I've been kicking this can down the road probably for 5 or 6 years. So I'm going to try to see if I can get it done this year.
It's to talk truck to office?
And truck to truck.
And it's not simple VHF because you,
right.
Okay, so are you using a signal off the tower or something like that?
Yeah, off the top of the, I think we got an antenna on top of City Hall, and then I think we got a repeater over on Lowe's Tower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm looking at a air conditioning unit for well 18 out there to we've got variable frequency drive out there to just try to kind of keep a little bit cooler in there just for the electronics. I've got.
Does that well go through the treatment plant?
No, that goes directly into the system. That's over on behind Tyson's hatchery there. That's on the high side of our pressure system.
Okay.
I've got about $67,000 between, we had 67 for water and 67 for electric to hopefully if Dave's crew can work it in later this fall anyway to try to reduce some of our lot out there. Our pavement's been bad for years out there and it's just rough. We're going to try to see if we can get some of that replaced. Let's see. That's the big ones on water. And let's see, electric. Electric, this year I've got about 305,000 looking to go towards probably engineering work on our north substation. We've had we ordered the transformer this past year, so we're going to try to get a bunch of the engineering work done, and then next year will be the next phase of more work I'll have budgeted for that. And then I've got $820,000 budgeted for the electric side of the AMI for replacing their meters. And then also they're split with water on a radio system upgrade.
So this 94 is in addition to the other?
Yes, together it's like 180-some thousand. Yeah, it's pretty expensive to put a radio system in. That's why it's been kicked down the road several years. And then just some other bigger items that we'll be doing out of electric. I mean, Daryl's got about $100,000 worth of poles put in there. He replaced over 100 poles last year, and he's got 150 or 60 he's got marked that need to be replaced. So they're kind of pecking away at that. And let's see, that's the big eye. Oh, there is
I
a,
have a question.
Yeah.
The lead pipes inventory,
yes.
I mean, do we expect any big costs out of that, based on the inventory we did on the lead pipes?
Well, I am going to apply for a grant to, hopefully to get 100% of it replaced. We'll see. Now, I have had Alger Martin on our water study to actually build in some cost for that per year anyway, just so we're getting some funding out of, just out of revenue there to kind of help with the cost offset if we have to make some sort of contribution towards it.
What's that, the timeline for that, the law, does it say you have to replace by?
Yeah, I think we've had, I want to say it's 10 years.
10 years, okay.
But if honestly, I'm planning on this year applying for the whole thing. I would love to get in and get it done as much as I can, because if you guys approve Dave's street project, you know, I mean, we're gonna have a lot of stuff tore up doing this. You know. And I'd hate to get all new asphalt and have little ribbons of concrete all over it. So, yeah, that's some of the, but I know that's coming open this year, so I'm gonna apply for the, right now I'm just waiting on a bid to come back, and I've got a grant funding to go ahead and complete our inventory, because every single house that's, I think, below 80, or before 86, that they have to physically look at it or has to be approved. Otherwise, DNR will not, they won't fund any grant money to something on something like that. It all has to be inspected.
So this is a state grant?
Yes.
Is it?
State grant handling federal money.
It's federal money, and we don't know the future of even that.
Not this time. I would hope that's not one they're jerking, because that affects almost every city in the United States.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you compared notes with Dave on, you know, the zone, because we're doing zones, so you guys have looked at that?
And I've talked, he's given me kind of what he's looking at here.
All right.
I mean, the majority of what we're looking at is the center of town here. So, oh, I forgot, on electric, there is Daryl had on our new bucket truck for $50,000, and that was a bumper winch on the front bumper there for material handling, and being able to pull themselves out when they get somewhere they can't get out of. All right, let's see, sewer. Sewer's a bit nebulous, because it's all going to be timing with our work at the treatment plant. If I get the loan and everything come through on that, that's going to be close to a $7 million project. I think I've got 4-point-some million I'm working on for a loan, and the rest of the money is coming out of reserves, which will pretty well clean us out.
Well, that's what the rate hikes are now, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and there's some, the good news with the rate hikes, there is some built in there to kind of help replenish reserves.
And you don't have those in the budget, I noticed.
What's that?
You don't have the rate increases in the budget.
That's what I said earlier there. I didn't, on water and sewer both, I just went conservative, and because at that time I wasn't sure what we were going to land on, and I just figured that was probably add later type thing. So it's basically a change one line type thing. So I figured once we settle on it, I mean, I can probably stick it in there and figure it right quick for budget. Then I had some money, $150,000 thrown in for which I'm not sure if we're going to get that done before the end of this year, make them out of this year's budget, but we got that sewer relocated for the bridge out there on Chapel.
For the overpass part. Okay.
Yeah, and I've got about $7,000 for a AC unit down there at our headworks at the sewer plant. We just got done installing a new motor control center in there. That was about a $50,000-$60,000 project, and we just want to be able to cool the air enough in there to where it keeps the equipment from overheating, give us a longer life out of it. I did have one more. I did looking on wages on electric. I was going to request another tree service guy. I think it was 3. gives a little bit of redundancy there where I can generally always have 2 people working anyway. So allows to get some other things done. So that's the quick and dirty, so.
Questions?
Your sewer, I'm sorry. The sewer project, the water line on Chapel, is that in the way of the construction of the?
That's why we're doing it.
And you say you're gonna have it done in this year or next year?
Waiting to see this fiscal year, and I know Kevin, when he lets it, I know he's close to putting it out to bid anyway. We're getting close enough now that probably won't be spending any money on it till next fiscal year, so. Yeah, I mean, time you let it, have a notice to proceed and everything, we're a couple of months out, even if you did it today.
So somehow mine, part of that got dropped off from my budget.
I noticed that, John, thanks, man.
Sorry about that. Yeah, there should have been about 35,000 on my budget for the fire department's third of that lot repair.
Oh, okay.
For what?
For the
Water and
fire
electric.
department's third of that lot repair at Station 2.
Oh,
We
okay.
went in a third on that for repairing that. Was it gonna be all concrete?
He talked you into a third? Lord.
Well, you
I was
turned it
pretty
down?
easy, Dave.
Well,
I
that's kind
thought
of
that
harsh,
would be fair.
though.
Right now, I think we got it all, so.
He knows how to do it.
It was 67,000 the total on that whole deal, the lot repair, or was that split?
Sorry?
The 67,000, was that split
That-
between everything?
67 to water, 67 to electric,
And then, I think I had 35.
whatever it was, John, I'd have to go look.
Then just take John's equipment out and just put that in the car.
Maybe Dave can build him like a concrete fire truck when he's doing the job.
Leave me out of this, man.
You can just see both sides all nice and concrete, and we're driving on dirt.
Yeah.
You could repurpose that old Kubota, Dave. Put a pump on it, a little.
Yeah, I guess.
It would take anything out of it.
Any questions for Skip?
Good.
All right, Jeff?
Well, I think
Did we
that,
skip mechanics?
Yeah.
You haven't presented, have you?
I haven't done that.
Oh, I'm sorry,
You
go
want
ahead.
my input or no?
Oh. What we've been talking about your whole meeting.
I like to talk anyway. On our budget, about the only thing you'll see is the fuel increase and a little bit on wages there. Wages are the cost of having these dealerships come in and work on stuff today is anywhere from 185 to 208 is the current rate. So I hope that we're saving all the departments money. If we're not, I want you to tell me, and we will try to do the best we can on what we can do for you. My biggest thing, the budget, I'm on schedule on the budget, pretty conservative. I don't like buying anything really expensive. The only thing I'd like to have is this reader. It's a diagnostic tool. It's made by Norgon. It's $7,500, and it costs $4,300 a year to keep updated. The first year is free on the update, so you can take that 43 off that 75. But that will help us on a lot of this regen, forcing the truck to regen, to clean the filters in the exhaust system.
Talking diesel?
Diesel.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not for cars or trucks, pickups or anything like that, which them are all leased, right? So if we have warranty work on them, that will be going to the dealership anyway. But yeah, this will be a good asset to our mechanic shop. That's about the only thing I have, other than I like to throw out there maybe having a secretary between me and Dave, so I can digitalize all the books that we have, where anybody, City Hall, City Administration can look up and say, oh, this is what's going on with this truck, this is what's, so you'd have real-time info. I know that it's hard for me to be in the office all the time because there's only two of us, and we are tremendously busy most of the time. And I want to do what's right for the administration. I know I've missed some meetings and stuff that I should have been at probably, but at that time, there's priorities of trying to keep this stuff running too. And but of course everybody likes to have wage increase, but I think our wage studies show that we're a little bit underpaid yet. But other than that, I just love working on stuff and
We'll bring you plenty of stuff to work on.
yeah,
We'll help you with that.
that's about all I have.
Does your software or all the annual fee, does that automatically go upgraded, so it keeps?
Yeah, and that reader should be good for anywhere from I say from 5 to 8 years. It should be able to upgrade.
So they're bringing in the current stuff, so as we get new rigs, you're not
Yeah.
out of
Well,
date with.
the new stuff, as long as it's under warranty, you will not get that software from the dealership. It's usually 2 or 3 years after that truck's been out before you'll get the software.
So would there be a period of time between out of warranty and before that would be there?
Possible.
Okay.
But for what we're doing, I mean, it would help us a lot. The emissions is what's killing us. That's what's killing everybody. And you're talking about new equipment and stuff. That's anything that's got a diesel on it's going to have emissions, afterburners, treatments, and everything else on it. So that's one of the reasons I was talking to a lot of the department heads about Detroit. They've had a lot of problems and issues. I think I talked to John about going with Cummins. I think they went with a Cummins on the trash truck that was scheduled to have a Detroit in it. That's because the emissions on the Cummins are a lot better. They have a lot better update, where with Detroit just let it fall through the cracks.
It was because Paul threatened me.
That's about all I have to say.
All right, well, thanks, Paul. I appreciate it. I'm sure you're saving us money.
Yes, he is. Beyond measure.
Okay, did I get all the department heads? You guys think? Mike? Golf course, we got anything at the golf course?
They met with Sandy last week. He's gone this week. He did his
He said he
approach.
didn't
gave us
have
the
really
paperwork.
anything. I could put him up on the board, but he's just,
So we're not looking at big capital improvements
No.
on the golf course?
no big changes.
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can I ask for one favor for the golf course? Give them a tilt trailer, so when they do need us, that they're able to load stuff up.
That's big and cheap.
If you would, please.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How much does one of those cost?
About 12 grand.
Max 20 on a good one, stainless. I don't know if they want to go that high.
Yeah.
But it has to be weight compatible.
Dave, on the tilt trailer, like the
8 for the smaller ones, 12 for the 8 group will haul anything a golf course has got.
Right.
Not getting too carried away,
What's the biggest thing we got on there?
probably fairway mowers would be the biggest.
And they got a truck now. Thank you.
Yeah.
And who that come from? Was that
Street department had that.
Streets? Okay, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
They had a 99 and it was running 5 or 8 cylinders.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then it improved,
Yeah.
Save 5 to 8 cylinders, save gas.
But parking that truck outside doesn't do it any favors, because what happens is that the coils, packs, will fill with water in that year and model for some.
On a new one?
No, on the old.
Old one, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we would like to clean out all the old worn out and unusable tractors that we have. We have a whole bin, a barn full of them.
Yes.
Missing parts, they have to diagnose all that stuff, and Dave, you just did a, I don't know, a county, a city auction or something like that with some of your equipment. So if you could teach
Yeah,
us
I'm getting
that,
ready to put a bunch more of it on there.
well, we'd like to join, so I'll come talk to you. But they've got stuff that's 20 years old and more,
Yeah.
that's
It's just taking up
unserviceable,
room.
and they rob parts to fix another.
We're doing really well with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah, they've got their dated stuff too, going back 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get rid of one of those golf carts.
You trying to trade up instead of get a gator? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, yeah, because that one's done at 93.
Okay, cash balances, capital improvements?
Yeah, we can wrap this up pretty quick here with a few comments. I think Dave's going to walk through, we went through a lot of operation capital, even though there were a lot of big things. But you know that we have several larger projects that we're working on. We've got the chapel and street projects, and what else we got? We've got the tap projects, and what's farther down the line, we've got the central. All of those have to be plugged into the budget. So, and Kevin's been working on that. That's the first thing I want to comment. The other thing is, I hope that we have a document that you can see where all the transfers are. Because we have, how many funds we have? We have 10, 12
At least.
funds. And we didn't present that to you, but I've suggested that we could have it on one thing so everybody understands where all the transfers, for example, airport gets some from transportation, street, all of these big projects. And we don't have it for you now, but by the way, Sandra's doing a great job as the new finance director, and she's trying to match all of our existing software with the audits and that. And ultimately, we want to, in this budget, show you, if we put all of this in, we could show you. Obviously, we don't have enough money for it. And so, from a policy standpoint, I mentioned this to the commissioners, the idea is you have to keep enough reserves, and hopefully, ultimately, there'll be some projections so that you can predict. And one of the big things that we looked at, we've got people and we've got wages, and that has an impact in the budget. So that's kind of it in a summary.
Where do we stand on the wage study right now?
Where are we on the wage study?
Currently, we are waiting until Mickey comes on board next month to present it to him to go over it. And then we can move forward.
So we
from
have
there.
the data now?
Yeah, we have some data, yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is Mickey, I don't know, I guess he's gonna do it on his vacation, but he's coming in the office a little bit. We're gonna kind of work the budget together a little bit. Sandra, Mickey, and myself start plugging in numbers so that you can have something, hopefully we'll have some sort of draft by the end of the week, hopefully. And
This week or next week?
well, we'll have something by the end of the week. You'll get something probably the next week or at your council meeting. I hope that this exercise was good from the standpoint that obviously we are a team, and I think it's good that the department heads could hear the other department heads, and the council could hear all of this. It provides a good baseline as we move forward. So That's all I have, Mayor.
Well, I want to thank the department heads, because you guys gave, I mean, I know what your priorities are. There's a lot of stuff you haven't talked about with us. What it does for me personally is now I know where I need to go ask questions and dig down. And that was kind of the purpose here, to see from you and then dig down from these things. We'll probably need to do another budget working session for us when we start getting into the details. I can't see us doing that for at least 2 weeks. I mean, I would like at least 2 weeks to start talking to department heads and do probably a work session the first week of March concerning the budget. Because I think we're going to need to do that.
Mayor, and let us put something together too, kind of a document for you.
Okay, it doesn't have to be the first week of March, but I'm still shooting for to have an approved budget by the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really want to do that.
You can do
I know we can extend it if we want to, but I'm not.
I know, I just.
Okay, but thank you for giving us that option. I appreciate that.
Okay.
The other thing I saw is a lot of teamwork today. I appreciate that. I know I saw it firsthand today. I know you guys are doing it all the time. So I appreciate that coming from the department heads. Commissioners, you got anything?
Nope. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Ready to jump in?
I'm ready. Let's go. Good job, everybody.
Any motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Rainbird,
Yes.
Commissioner Ken Gaspar,
Aye.
Commissioner Darren Davina,
Aye.